and welcome to our fourth KONA Countdown edition with crowd favorites, Mr. Daniel Bækkegård, all the way from KONA. And Daniel, you kept me waiting for half an hour, but it's still less than the time I had to wait for Cameron Worth to finish his training. I think I waited 2.5 hours. So how are you doing, Daniel? And are you back to normal training already?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Les. I'm doing pretty well. Just had to get home from a training session and a trip to Costco. Yeah, so me and Florian Angert, we are enjoying time on the Big Island. And today I actually introduced him to some of the most beautiful poetry in the world. And he agreed that Tobias Rahim and Benjamin Howe, that's like, yeah, poetry from another world. So yeah, we've had a quite good few hours.
Okay, we have to do a deep dive into that sometimes later, because I'm all with you on that one. Those guys, they are like it. They are world class. Actually, I thought about introducing you to this video as the Lord Byron of triathlon, like this famous British poet. but that's for another video session. Daniel, a funny story. You went to KONA as one of the youngest guys back in 19, age 23, now 26, and actually I made a count before this video. 50% of the guys never been to KONA before. So do you think that you have an upper hand there, knowing the island, knowing how the race usually falls out and so on? Have you thought about that?
I have thought about it, and I quickly came to the conclusion that it does not really mean anything to have been here before. I think, first of all, the sport, the sport is a whole other sport than what it was in 2019. So, of course, there is some things I've ridden the course in a race, even though I was not really a part of the race. So at least I know where the Red Bull tent are, and that to be fair, that's the only thing I actually remember from 2019, because there was some pretty cute girls out at the Red Bull tent, and that was the only way I could kind of find motivation to get back to the city.
For people who don't remember, you've been on Queen K for less than a minute, or you drove into a pothole, and then mechanical. You did the 180K all by yourself and had a pretty good run. So that's what you remember from the 2019 race.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
Yeah,
it was the longest 180Ks I've done in my life, for sure. Yeah, and at that moment I thought, like, I'm never gonna go back to do Ironman again. That's way too long. Yeah. And also way too lonely. But I've decided this year I'll make it a bit more fun. So
hopefully.
Yeah.
Daniel, I have some inside sources, of course, in your some of the guys who support you. I won't reveal any names here, but you can probably figure out. You are in pretty good shape at this moment. Of course, I know
then it's not a person who's close to me, that's for sure.
Daniel, you as per usual, you are up there on the swim. On the bike, 2 minutes down. I don't know if that was on plan. You've done well, coming a bit from behind, but then like in Saint George, you struggle a bit on the run, and I don't know if it's something biomechanical, or if it's something with your digestive system or the heat. Can you have you elaborated a little bit on that? What's happening on the run? Because of course
was that in Dallas, or what are we talking about?
We're talking about Dallas, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did not really have the day I expected or hoped for in Dallas in like the whole race, but I still think I did what was necessary to kind of keep myself in contention for the podium still. Went out on the run, and I just had I had cramps in like my diaphragm. So I'm not quite sure. I'm still not quite sure what caused it. If it was like intense cooling or too many gels or whatever. But of course, it was not really the like warm up event for Hawaii I was dreaming of. But that's racing, and the part of winning is also losing. So I just have to like get on with it, and I think there's not a lot we can actually analyze out of the race I did in Dallas, because I think I'll just have to leave it behind, kind of.
Yeah. I don't believe we made any interviews since your European Championship in 7.3. But let's do some of the talk now. I know it's been a race that you wanted to win for a long time, and going into that race as top favorite and then executing almost perfectly, has that been like a stone falling from your heart, more or less?
Not really. I think I kind of just I knew if I did what I planned to do, then it would be a very difficult day for the other guys, and then I just had to kind of show some balls on the bike, and I did. And I think Mika and we wrecked the bikes in T2 with like a 6-minute lead or so. So at that point, I thought like, okay, things are gonna go, pretty bad if I'm not gonna take this one. So actually, for the first time, I was just able to enjoy the run through the city. People were there having lunch or brunch or whatever. The Swedish people were there having the first beers. So it was quite an exciting atmosphere there, and something I'll cherish forever, because I think it's maybe the last time I'll actually race a European Championship on home soil. And the fact that I had so many of my friends and family there, that was just, it was a pretty special day. So I didn't really. There was no stone falling from my heart, because it didn't really feel any pressure from the outside. Of course, I always put pressure on myself, but actually, I just kind of there was so much shit going on before the race, so I actually just enjoyed being in the race, because then things are just calm and I can just do what I love, and that was kind of what happened.
So afterwards, you went to, I don't know if it was straight after, but you went to an altitude camp. Have you done that before? Or I know you planned to go to the French Pyrenees, and had a bit of a hit out there with some friends, and also some international athletes. Sam Laidlow also stopped by, I believe.
Yeah, that was the first time in altitude. So
how did your body respond to that? Was that a totally new what do you call it? Wheeling thing for you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's not the last time I've done that.
Yeah. So do you like, okay, you could see your numbers go up and say, okay, I really, there's some big responses, and then there are people who can hardly feel anything, and all in between that. So is that a big takeaway from you?
Yeah. So it's not really like you feel instantly when you get down that you just get better. But I think, of course, it's more. You cannot just go on altitude camp and then just expect it to be beneficial. You also have to do the proper work and do some smart work as well in order to make it make it benefit you. And I think we did that and succeeded in getting down to Collins Cup afterwards, and just prepare properly for the race and execute on race day.
Yeah.
And I think like the most part was actually the bike. I felt like I had another level than what I've had before. I could just like keep a high wattage throughout the whole race. And yeah, I put like 6 minutes into what's his face, Braden Curry. So I think that was a pretty good, we raced each other in St. George as well. So it was pretty good to show him that how
you're the
things
boss
are.
there. Yeah. Also, I believe I ran through the results. I think you had a top 6 result in total, but you're like really close on the other guys. It's like seconds, so it's not a huge gap from.
But at Collins Cup you cannot really
It's hard to measure.
See anything out of results because it's 6 different races and there's 6 different weather conditions. There's 6 different motorbikes conditions and so on. So you can only see what's or kind of read of what happens in the actual race. But yeah, I feel like it was a pretty good way to test how altitude would work, and I was a bit sad that I did not have the time to go up to altitude again before PTO Dallas and Hawaii, but maybe I'll do that another year.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you can say that 2021 was your big year. You almost won. Everything was on podium every second time. And you can say that this year has really been Magnus Ditlev firing on all cylinders. Have his rise meant that you have upped your game, maybe also doing a little bit of sparring training with him and felt that, okay, his rise has also left, risen your game a little bit there? Or you maybe not even thought about that?
Not really.
No?
We've been talking a little bit with our work with Fusion, but other than that, it's not really been. We haven't really trained a lot because we have different base setups, and also we always have. It's difficult to kind of find the time during the season to train a lot together, and this year that's not been possible. But staying with him at the PTO Dallas was a great experience, and I think we have that kind of relationship where we really benefit from each other because we have the same kind of ideas on how to train and how to how we enjoy living our lives. And I've experienced that on training camps with other people before, that things do not really work out as well as things I've done with Magnus. So I think it's something for the future we'll look into for sure.
Yeah, but are you the type of person who will stick to one training body, like you live with Florian now, and you guys go and do your swim sessions, you guys go and do your rides, not mingling with too many people, like a group of 5 or 6 people?
Here, I think it depends, but here it's just too much stress to kind of organize everything, and I just want to get shit done, so I just go out and ride my bike when I have to ride my bike. Where if you go to a training camp in January through April, it's a bit easier to kind of just mix things up and meet new people and whatever. But yeah, I think leading into a big race, it's like you want to keep it as as little stress as possible, and of course you can arrange some training and some training together, but I prefer to kind of keep it to a minimum.
You are in a little bit of a special situation, since you are actually the 3rd place finisher from 70.3 Worlds last year, and this year Worlds is after Kona. I don't know, we have a bit of a delay. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you again.
I'm back again here. So 70.3 Worlds this year is after Kona. Is that somehow in your minds while training that you have another World Championship coming after this one, or is everything 110% about Kona training, adapting, and then Worlds you have to deal with that afterwards?
Yeah, I think it's just what happens after Hawaii happens after Hawaii. I do not
Yeah.
really think about St. George other than going there and enjoy some time, some downtime after the race here. It's I cannot really predict how my body will react on racing here, so I'll go there and give it my all, and that's kind of how I think things will be.
Yeah, super interesting. Also, with so many Danes going there. Yeah, both of course in Kona, but also I think you are six guys qualified for 7.3 Worlds. So it's more like a, what do you call it, federation sending a whole, what do you call it, a whole team there. So that will be quite interesting to follow this time around. Daniel, you have a lot of top results going into Kona compared to last time there. I believe you have more obligations this time, interviews, places you have to be. Going into the last 6 or 7 days before the race, do you have a lot of obligations you have to show up to, or what's that? What's the deal there?
It's not that bad, to be fair.
Okay.
I think I have. I think my manager will have kind of a schedule of what I have to do, but it's not. It's not that I have to do a whole lot. All my sponsors would appreciate me doing well on race day, so they will
Yeah.
not keep me too busy. But everybody is kind of within a couple of kilometers, so it will be kind of easy to just swing by the hip house or the canyon booth or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think I'll do that uh, one of the days, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about being here, that everything is pretty close to each other, and everybody within the sport is here, so that kind of creates an interesting atmosphere,
Yeah.
both for the good and the bad. So yeah, I haven't really thought about it. Right now, it's just my brain is just focusing on training and what I have to do to get ready for race day.
So, if you can please explain or take us through what a typical week here. Kona is still a fair bit away, and maybe you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. every morning. But how do you structure your week training wise? If you can take us through how a typical day or 2 or 3 days might look here in Kona.
Actually, I've just kind of taken the weekly schedule I have from back home and just doing that here.
Yeah.
Just keeping things how we know, doing things the way we know works, and then only having like 5 days of light work before race day. So basically it's just kind of get up early because the sun will rise at around 6, I think, and then so get the first session done around that time, getting some breakfast in, and then training again, sleeping a bit, eating, training again, and then I speak to or do podcast shows or whatever.
Yeah, and thanks for that. Well, of course, the prices this year have been a major issue with the current situation in the world. So your team, for instance, your coach or some of the people who is going to be there around the race for you, will they be able to come, or are you a bit on your own this year?
Luckily, uh, I've created kind of a setup where uh, I I'm able to pay for my coach and my manager to get here. I
Yeah,
think that's pretty important, and also my manager have other athletes here as well. So I think that makes it kind of cheaper that we can split the bill for him
yeah,
coming here. Um, yeah, so of course, I would like to have a support person here now instead of only having Florian, who's also racing. that would be nice, because I can see situations where it would be nice to just have one for the long runs or whatever who can bike alongside, but I think I'll just leave that for next year. I think in general, of course, it's annoying that we have to pay like whatever 20,000, 30,000 euros or dollars for being here, but at the same time, it's also our jobs and it's what our sponsors pay us for. So I think some people have been like very openly very angry about it, but at the same time, it's like, I know Joe Skipper said something, and it turns out he is paying for 6 people to get here. Then of course it's a big bill you'll have at the end of the day. So
what I was thinking about is also on other podcasts and interviews, you've been pretty open about insecurity as a factor, even coming from top results, or if training goes pretty good, insecurity can be a factor for top athletes like you. And of course, in Kona, people like are in top shape. Everybody looks super fit. So do you have any tools, anything you do to keep yourself calm here, leading into a race where the mental game is also super important?
I think this year I'm not one of the kind of favorites for the race, so that makes it easier to to approach the race, because I'm, as one of the other athletes said, I'm just there. So I don't really have to take responsibility for anything. That does not mean that I won't, but I think I can use that to an advantage. And
Daniel, about the race itself, we have seen some PTO championships. We have seen another championship in St. George. Do you believe that it's going to be some of the same usual suspects we're going to see dominate the race, or can you see anyone that we didn't even think about will go up and surprise us? So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think there will be. It's another race that what we saw in St. George. The fact that the bike is easier here in terms of elevation and total damage. Also, the fact that it's a non-wetsuit swim favors better swimmers a bit more. So I see like gaps will maybe be bigger, and it's also more difficult to kind of destroy each other completely on the bike. I think the only reason would be if the side winds are really playing a factor. So that's today we did a bike ride, just an easy ride with like 36.5 k's an hour in average. And I think if it's boring conditions like today, it's going to be a boring race as well. But hopefully some stronger winds will affect it a bit. But I see like, of course we saw in Dallas Colin Chartier doing well. I don't see that. Maybe in top 5 or top 10 there will be some surprises, but I don't see like fresh faces coming up and doing like first time. Then it's because they've been maybe sitting a bit. Just sitting in the bus and running fast afterwards. But I think it's difficult to do well at a World Championships in the first go, and be kind of an unknown person.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true what you're saying here. So you're going to the test swim with Florian and do some preparation to gap the other guys for race day, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, I think I'll go and watch out and see some dolphins and turtles, and then maybe swim fast at the same time. We'll see what happens. I think it's a good event just to see like how race pace will be, and how it is to be in a group and how the course feels. Of course, it's a bit more difficult to create bigger gaps here than it normally would be, because it's a water start and it's not that spread out. So I think it's pretty important to kind of just know beforehand how the start especially will be, and how to get around the buoys the quickest possible.
Yeah, totally. Final question for me. Actually, what you predicted the last time we chatted is that Rasmus Henning has now sat in the chief seat of the federation, sat himself in the chief seat of the federation, and is really close to the athletes. Have you been talking to him lately? He's really seems to be good at staying in touch with the athletes and know exactly what's going on and so on. Did you talk to him before he went to Kona? Or?
I think we had a small chat just in general on how things are in Odense at the moment, but not not in terms of Kona or anything.
Okay.
I think he also knows that if he wants to be a good coach or mentor, he also needs the long distance team to kind of vote for him, and that was what they did not really succeed in doing beforehand. So that's, I think he'll be a good chief, and trying to keep the puzzle together and just build a new federation, because I feel like that's what we need. It's a bit sad that we only have a couple of guys doing well and then no talent coming up whatsoever, because everything is completely destroyed. So I think he have a pretty big task in trying to figure out how to do it in the future.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen there. Daniel, best of luck to you. I know a lot of the guys who watch this are going to cheer for you, and I want to send my personal wishes for you to have a perfect, superb race, as you very well deserve. So stay safe and race fast.
Thanks a lot, Lasse.